The Amazon was supposed to be impossible, a trap, a primordial wilderness so hostile, so dense, and so biologically aggressive that no complex civilization could ever survive there. We believed the jungle was a wall that humanity could never climb. We were wrong. The wilderness was a lie. The trees were just a curtain. And now, thanks to technology that can see what the human eye cannot, the curtain has been pulled back. We haven't just found a few huts in the mud. We have found a ghost that spans thousands of miles. We have finally discovered the metropolis that nature tried to hide for 2,000 years. The year is 1542. A Spanish conquistador named Francisco de Orellana is doing the unthinkable. He is drifting down the entire length of the Amazon River. He is starving. His men are dying of fever, and the humidity is rotting the very clothes off their backs. But Orellana sees something that makes him forget his hunger. When he returns to Spain, he doesn't speak of a jungle. He speaks of an empire. He tells the courts of Europe that the riverbanks were not empty. He describes vast settlements that stretched along the riverbanks, massive communities that continued for miles without interruption. He speaks of fine pottery, vast road networks, and millions of people. He describes a civilization that rivals London or Madrid. And for this, history destroyed him. The scholars and kings of Europe laughed. They called him a liar, a madman who had hallucinated in the heat. Because when the next wave of explorers arrived a century later, they found nothing. The cities were gone. The millions of people had vanished into the mist. There were no white towers, no roads, only the deafening silence of the rainforest. The world concluded that Orellana had lied to save his reputation. They decided that the Amazon was, and always had been, a pristine wilderness where humans were merely visitors. But Orellana wasn't crazy. He was just the last person to see the ghosts before they faded. The tragedy of the Amazon is not just what was lost, but why we couldn't see it. For centuries, the Western world was blinded by a single color: gold. The legend of El Dorado poisoned the minds of every explorer who entered the basin. They were looking for stone castles. They were looking for cathedrals of gold and silver. They wanted a European definition of civilization, transplanted into the tropics. In their greed, they walked right over the truth. Thousands of men died of starvation and disease, marching across mounds that were actually crumbled pyramids. They hacked through vines that were growing out of ancient plazas. But in 2024, scientists aimed lasers at the jungle, and the ghosts began to appear. The explorers couldn't see the civilization because they didn't understand the materials. The Amazonians didn't build with stone. The jungle doesn't provide it. They built with earth and wood. They built in harmony with the forest. When the people died, likely from the diseases Orellana's own men left behind, their cities didn't turn into ruins. They turned into compost. Nature is the ultimate eraser. Without constant maintenance, the jungle swallows a wooden city in less than 50 years. The evidence wasn't hidden in a vault. It was digested by the ecosystem. The explorers were looking for a graveyard of stone, but they were standing in a garden that had gone feral. But the jungle couldn't hide everything. The jungle couldn't eat everything. There was one artifact they couldn't destroy. One piece of technology so advanced that we are only just beginning to understand it today. It wasn't a machine. It was dirt. Scientifically, a civilization of millions should be impossible here. Amazonian soil is naturally toxic and acidic. It cannot sustain large-scale farming. If you cut down the trees to farm, the nutrients wash away in the rain within a few years. So, how did they feed the millions that Orellana saw? They invented Terra Preta. Dark Earth. This was not a natural occurrence. It was bioengineering. Ancient Amazonians mixed charcoal, bone, compost, and pottery into the sterile clay, creating a soil that was alive with microorganisms. It acts like a sponge for nutrients. This soil regenerates itself. A single handful can sequester 150 grams of carbon, 5 times more than regular soil. It is a living technology that has survived for centuries after its inventors died. While the gold hunters were looking for shiny rocks, the true treasure was under their boots. This civilization had conquered the one thing we struggle with today: true sustainability. They didn't just inhabit the land, they terraformed it. They turned a green desert into a garden that could feed an empire. We could assume all of this. We could theorize about the soil and the stories, but we needed proof. And in the 21st century, we stopped using machetes and started using lasers. This is the Upano Valley, over 6,000 earthen platforms, spread across 300 square kilometers, connected by roads that are wider than most modern highways. Recent LiDAR scans have peeled away the canopy to reveal a network of cities that defies logic. We see ceremonial platforms. We see drainage canals. But most shockingly, we see the scale of the connection. Perfectly straight, wide highways, stretching for tens of miles, connecting urban centers in a grid that rivals the Roman Empire. This was not a collection of isolated tribes. This was a connected, complex political state. Orellana was not a madman. He was a witness. The Amazon is not a wilderness. It is the world's largest abandoned garden. The biodiversity we see today, the fruit trees, the palms, the concentration of useful plants, is not an accident of nature. It is the legacy of the farmers who planted them thousands of years ago. We look at the Amazon and see nature untouched, but we should look at it and see a warning. A civilization of millions with advanced biotechnology and vast infrastructure thrived here. And yet, when they fell, the earth took it all back. It reminds us that our concrete and steel are not permanent. We are merely tenants. And if we vanish, the garden will not mourn us. It will simply grow over us, waiting for the next traveler to wonder if we ever existed at all. This is the story we tell on The Last Silence, the moment nature reclaims what we built.